Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome everyone to a new episode of Soul Love, and today I have the honor and I'm excited to share a sacred conversation with Elizabeth Gagnon. I don't know if I pronounced your last name. I tried it. It's a beautiful French name, but I welcome you within this sacred space, and I'm really honored to share yet another beautiful conversation with you, because a couple of weeks back I was on your show, Tea Time. I would say check it out. I will place the link here below. And I really love your mission and what you're sharing with the world, and your commitment to sharing your voice and inspiring and empowering others. And I don't know, like, because we all go through ups and downs in life, but what at this moment really supports you to keep on holding on to this vision and step into this space of, the beautiful creation you have?
For me, it's tea.
Tea.
And tea holds everything, right? So, I don't serve a beverage. I serve teaching educational awareness. So it's the tea, Kim. It's the connection, the dots, the T, the E, the A, and if you check out my platforms, you'll see there's a hyphen in between when I write stuff, right? Because it's the line connecting. And for me, T is the past, the present, and the future. So it's like a time travel. And it just holds me strong. Some days I have a weaker tea, some days I have a stronger tea. And that's the tea that lives within me. So yeah, I'd have to say tea.
I love that. Yeah, because like when you have written a book and multiple books, but you share a lot of your personal story. But I think it's really profound in everything you've experienced, where you are now sharing your voice, sharing your experiences, empowering others. What has really helped you to step out of that space, or to shift from all the traumatic experiences you went through to in this space of, okay, I take everything that has happened and I'm here to now help others?
I think it's the inner child. The inner child in me is screaming, like, let's do this, let's play, let's have some fun, let's travel. We were talking before we went live, as this magic rocking chair, right? 67 different countries in 5 years, over 105 plus topics, authors, actors, homeless people, personal stories. It's just the travel of the inner child that gets to see things that she didn't get to see when she was little. And I think that's what really pushes me a lot too, is that inner child of, she's screaming outside and saying, we can do this, we got this. We as we become older, we forget about the little girl in us, right? We forget about the little boy in us, and we got to bring that back out, and we got to start talking to ourselves and start having those affirmations and those heavy conversations. Joke with yourself, do those punchlines, and to yourself, like, and not physically punch, but have those affirmations and inner jokes with yourself that you can get past those hard stuff and the challenges and that. I talk to myself all the time. Like, my kids think that I'm a crazy lady sometimes, because they're like, Mom, who are you talking to? Oh, I'm talking to myself,
Yeah.
So, the argument stops when you're arguing with yourself. Like,
Yes, that's true. I love that. Yeah, and then make it a positive argument, because otherwise it's this loophole where we can keep on going towards. But I love that. Yeah, and it's such a I think for every one of us, like we already shared, but it's a choice. Like we can choose to go down whatever challenge is there, or like the fears or doubts we can have in our minds, or we can just choose to use positive affirmations, or choose to uplift ourselves, or even like make a joke with it sometimes, because that just, it cracks it open. And that again is the childlike, because I always love when I see my girls as well, when something happens, like they have this intense emotion for a while, but then they immediately shift and go into something else, where we sometimes as adults keep hanging in one emotion for a very long time, instead of just having the intensity of, okay, yes, and then it's out and we can just move on again with, so I really love that.
Well, there's an old saying, right? Talk to a 3-year-old to get that inner child back out, right? Because children, when they're at that age, they're learning, they're developing, they're growing. And we as adults, when we get older, we stop. It's almost like we put brakes on ourselves from learning and growing and developing. And no, I know how to do it. Nope, nobody's going to show me how to do it. We get stuck in our own ways, right? And sometimes we're our own roadblocks. And it took me a long time to stop doing that, putting that block in front of me. Like, why am I putting this block here? Like, I can do this. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, I might not understand. Yes, I might have to take courses. I might need to take training. I might need to get a mentor, but these are things that we have to start doing as adults. Start talking to the inner child. Start talking to that little 3-year-old again, well, I can talk to my inner child at any time, but I also have a granddaughter who's 3, so I can talk to a 3-year-old at any time,
I love that. So you get the infusion of wonder again, and how they see life, and everything is magical. And but it truly is. But I'm wondering, like, what shifted? Because that's also sometimes an important awareness. Like sometimes we're not ready to shift the pattern, and then we feel like, okay, why am I keep doing this? But there will be a pivotal moment where we feel now it's enough. What was for you this pivotal moment where you felt, okay, I'm not doing this anymore, and I'm taking the courses or whatever it needs to get out of this? And
Well, like I said, like it's been a journey for me, but my journey actually started in 2017 when I met Brenda Hammond, and I wrote my personal story for the first time. And since then it's been a journey. And every year I look back and I say, okay, what do I not want to do anymore? What do I want to change, right? What do I have to change? Because we have to change sometimes. Sometimes it's us, it's not somebody else. It's us stuck in our own patterns and cycles, back again to the roadblocks. We keep coming, sometimes we're the ones doing it, and then we put the blame on somebody else. But we have to actually look in that mirror and say, you know what? Oh, I have to take accountability. I got to take responsibility. So it's been a real journey since 2017. My life has been like this incredible journey. Before then, my life was a hard life. I went through a lot, Kim, but since 2017, it's been an eye-opening journey for me. Every year I go through like social media. I'll go through all of my friends and I'll say, okay, like, why do I have these people? Do I really need these people? Is it time to close that chapter? Is it time to move on? Because sometimes we hold on to things that we shouldn't be holding on to. And it's because we're scared of getting blamed or, shamed or guilt into, well, I support you, you should support me, kind of stuff like that. So my life since I turned 50, Kim, like I turned 50 in May, and I've looked at life completely different than what I did 50 years. Like I'm on a new journey. I'm on the next 50 years of my life. And, and if the 50 years of life is not here, it's in my next life. Like I said, I'm very spiritual and I believe in reincarnation. And I know that I still have more journeys along the way, This is not my last life. Like I'm going to move on to a different life and have different impacts and different things to do. But I think in 2017 would have had to been the year for me. It really changed my life. I shared my story. I got it out there. I broke the silence, right? Yes. And I really loved that Brenda called that book Sacred Hearts Rising, Breaking the Silence, because that's what I felt. I felt I was breaking that silence and I was finally heard. So I'm forever grateful for Brenda Hammond. So if anybody doesn't know who Brenda Hammond is, she's an incredible author and she has Sacred Hearts Rising. And I wrote in all 4 of her books. and we wrote it in chapters.
Yeah.
So because when I first met Brenda, I just threw 9,000 words at her. Like I had a whole book.
Yes.
I just wanted everything out, right?
Yes.
And she's like, whoa.
Finally, it's open. Yes.
She's like,
Yeah.
well, I do know that I'm going to be doing a book 2 and a book 3 and stuff like that. She knew it was going to be a series. So that's what we did. And it was a journey with her,
Mhm.
and me and Brenda have this friendship that I never thought I would have. She's my mama bear. She pushes me when I need that push. And sometimes I get upset and I'm just like, why are you pushing me away? But I know that she's doing that for, that I need to move on because I hold on because I want that love so badly because I didn't have it growing up, right?
I get
Um,
it. Yeah.
but she actually has shown me how to fly. Like she pushed
Mhm.
me out of the nest and she's like, hey, look at girl, you got to do your own thing. Like, you
Yeah.
can't stay stuck to mama bear here. And so,
Reminding you have wings to fly
yeah,
yourself and to, yeah, but I love that.
yeah,
But there's something powerful, we've shared a couple of times on this podcast as well. Like there's something powerful when we choose to share our story. First writing it onto paper and then in a book sharing it with the world. But it's like this explosion of energy that comes up because we were finally giving a voice to a lot of things we have been pushed down for many, many years,
yeah,
many, many lifetimes. And what I also loved in what you shared, and I think it's so profound, is that I also believe we live multiple lifetimes or different dimensions. Like this lifetime is not our only thing. We are a soul on an ever evolving journey. But then we also really, because sometimes we can be so challenged from growing up, and there's been so many traumatic experiences, and we can feel like, okay, I just want it to be over. But if we do not heal it, if we do not face it with love, with compassion, if we do not, then in a way we will take it with us in our next lifetime or in a different dimension. But when we see it like, okay, I'm a soul on this earthly journey, it also is inviting us, and sometimes that's not easy, but to take ownership of what
yeah.
has happened, and to take, like, in this lifetime, to heal and to just embrace and to express and to give voice, because that really helps our soul to evolve. So it's like this greater picture, instead of, okay, this has happened and I'm just going to sit out my life and it will always be this way. But that's so,
Right, it's that blame and complain. It's kind of
yes.
like Joe Dibley. And she told me years ago when I first met them at the summit in 2018. She said, Liz, you're no longer in the story, you're on your story.
Yes, I love
And I didn't understand that for a long time, what she meant by that.
that.
And it's true. And it's just like a cup of tea, right? When we're
Mm.
in that tea bag and you're just soaking, it's like a
Yeah,
really stale, bad tea, right? You just
yeah,
leave the tea bag in the water, it's just going to get heavier and heavier and heavier and darker. And the taste is going to get bitter, right? And
yes.
that's what we do. Like when we share our stories, we lighten ourselves, and we standing on your story doesn't mean you're stuck in it.
No.
This was my story. This is who I am. This is what I've overcome, and let's get on it. Let's show people that are still going through it that they can get on their stories. Let's get them out of the
Mhm.
victim playing and then blaming and complaining and,
Yeah.
oh my God, I was a victim, and and I don't do well with that. So, but I'm on my story. So people that
Yes.
are still in their stories, they won't understand. They won't align with this right now.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, well, she's all got it. She's got a book. She's got this. That's not what I'm saying, guys. I'm saying that when we're in our stories, we're not helping ourselves. We're self-sabotaging ourselves. So we need to get on our stories. We need to be proud of our
Mhm.
stories. Yes, we overcome stuff. I've overcome abuse and neglect and, mental health, grief, but I still live with those, but I
Mhm.
don't live in them. I live on
Yeah.
them.
And
So
what do you think has helped you to shift from living? Because I really love the way you're sharing it right now, from living in it to living on it, to everyone tuning in. Because we all, in different moments in our lives, we feel we've been sucked into something that is maybe so challenging, and we don't see, like almost sitting in a dark cloud, and we don't see the light. What if someone is listening now? What do you think, besides expressing yourself? Because I think that's a huge one. But there's already a lot of steps that happen before you're ready to
yeah.
express, to acknowledge, to, yeah.
Well, I was scared, right? Even when I first wrote in the first book, I asked Brenda, like, do you think my story matters? Like, who, because I was in it, right? Do
Yeah.
I matter? Oh, nobody's going to want to listen to my story. Nobody's going to want, because I was still in it. But once I wrote my story and I seen that it was published and I seen and all of that. And then I was like, oh my goodness, somebody in Rome right now is going to be reading my story and they're going to be like, this poor, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for what I went through. I want you, when you read my stories in any of the books that I'm in and any of the books that I've written, to look at my story and say, wow, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we all have stories, and
Mhm.
not one story is better than the next.
Yeah.
I went through a lot. Doesn't mean that your story is any less. It means that you can get through it too, you know? And we got to start encouraging people to share their stories. Stop being ashamed of your stories. Stop hiding in the guilt, because the longer we're in the guilt, the longer we suffer. Our abusers, the person who has passed, like in the grief, uh, they're no longer here. They're no longer to say, well, like, come on, pick yourself up, like, get out of this, right? The abuser maybe already being on to the next person that he's abusing or she's abusing, you know? So why stay stuck in it? You know, and I had a lot of good people that came in my life. People call them mentors and coaches. I call them
Mhm.
friends. I call them alignments,
Yeah.
uh, connections that needed to come to me. The universe sent them for reasons. And a lot of times I was like, why this person?
Mm.
Why? What are you going to tell me? And when I first started, Kim, I was very defensive. I was like, nope, I went through it. This is my pain. You're not going to help me through it. I know how to take care of myself. I know how to do this. And now I'm like, tell me, like, share
Mhm.
with me.
Yeah.
If it's me that needs to take a reflection and look in the mirror and say, "Ooh, maybe I need to soften up a little bit."
Yeah.
you know and like I said, I turned 50, and it's like, this new
This.
light came into me, and I look at life differently.
Yeah.
I don't hold on to things anymore. If that's how you want to be and that's how you want to live, and I know it's not good for my mental health or for me, then you have to go. And no matter who you are, whether you're a parent or a friend of 20 years, if you're no longer aligning with me, we have to close that chapter. We have to move on. And that doesn't mean you go around and start hating people and start putting
Oh.
people down. And, you know, you just wish them well,
Yeah, but it's also
and
choosing where you choose to spend your time and your energy, and it doesn't mean that there needs to be something bad or negative,
yeah,
but it's just I think as well as we evolve so quickly, it's also tuning in like the things we're doing. Does it still feel aligned, or does it still uplift
yeah,
us, or is aligned with our mission, or what, like the legacy we are here to leave? Just as you're sharing, like
yeah,
each year, looking back at all of your posts, but also the people you are connected with, and because
yeah.
we all have this desire within us, this like you leaving this beautiful legacy of all you've created, your books and your podcast, your radio, your tea time, all of that. But there's an energy, there's a vibration you're ready to carry into their next level, and sometimes it's also letting go of the things that are carrying it down or are out of alignment. And I think especially as we get older, in a way, it's also going more within. Like we understand, like we are responsible for our energy and for our
Yeah.
thoughts and for our, and in that we can get to choose to change our direction, to change the way we live, to change the way what we do. And it's that taking that control back, or that power. And it's not per se in just holding everyone out, but it's just saying, okay, this is who I am and these are my boundaries, and I love you, I see you, but this is not good for me. And it's a totally different dynamic than in the old way of, yeah. So I think it's really beautiful that you shared that.
Well, Kimmy, you just said something, right? Boundaries,
Yes.
right? When you grow up in a situation like I have, there was a lot of abuse, a lot of you can be seen but not heard, right? So
Yeah.
now, as I have a voice, a lot of my family and a lot of friends that I grew up with in school, they're like, "Who is this Liz?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, who is this woman?" And I even look back, like, like I like to look back at season one of Tea Time, and then I like to look back at season five, and I can see the
Mhm.
growth and I can see the difference. And my face doesn't lie, guys. So if something's not right, I'm like I'm making faces.
Yeah.
I can't hide it. That's just who I am,
Yeah.
and I really just pray a lot for a lot of things. And I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual, so I do pray to the higher energy, and I
Mm.
ask the energy, like, what, what message is this going to give me right now? Why am I feeling this?
Yeah.
Where's this anger coming from? Where is this depression coming from? you know and like I tell everybody, if you look at my Facebook, Miss Liz does not lie. Miss Liz, if she's
Mm.
having a hard day, I show it. and I express it because I want people to really start being authentic and start saying, you know what? Life is hard sometimes,
Yes.
and we have bad days, but we don't have bad lives. You
No.
know, we might have 3 bad days, but we don't have 3 hard lives. Like, we got to really start
Mm.
looking at the messages and start looking within ourselves and saying, for everyone who's listening to this amazing podcast, Kim, start having conversations,
Mhm.
and start asking, why am I feeling this way? Can I change it? And if you can't, let it go,
Yeah.
and if people want to do stuff, let them, just
Mhm.
let them be.
Yeah.
Life is precious and life is
It is.
short,
Yeah.
um,
And
and you
it's
really
sharing
look at
from your
life
heart.
differently.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And because that's also what I notice sometimes with this podcast. I have good days, but I also have not so good days, but I'm showing up. And I think if I
Yeah,
get to inspire one beautiful soul with this beautiful conversation and this beautiful story, that's amazing. But it's like,
yeah,
I think as well as letting go of all the visions of perfection or how success needs to look like. I think last week I posted like true success is about how quickly we get up after a fall. It's not per se always having this rising up. No, life
yeah,
is with ups and downs, but it is the resilience in the moments we fall. Like,
yeah,
okay, do we choose to stay in that? And that's also okay because it's everyone's own journey. But it is in the end choosing like, okay, no, I'm worth of more. I love myself. I accept
yeah,
the situation. And that is really creating the quick go up again. But I think that's the true, and that's what I love about these conversations and also what your tea time is serving, true authentic stories, because we're
yeah,
all going through our own challenges and also this ascension journey on earth. We're all being activated. Even if you're not on this spiritual journey, the frequencies are so high that it will activate your slower vibrations. And for everyone, that will look different. But it is having compassion and love for these parts that really allows. And that's what I love in your story as well. It's not pushing things away. It's not denying things. It's not sugarcoating. It's embracing it with love. And just as you shared, like coming back to this inner child and giving it finally the love it deserves instead of saying, okay, I don't want you. I don't need you. I don't. And coming back to the wonder, let your inner child play. We shared a beautiful conversation on your podcast as well, or your
yeah.
tea time about that, but that's so much so powerful, and that's what I see in you. Like even though sometimes also the physical things that are happening and all of that, you still have this wonder, this excitement, this and we need that, this passion, this drive, because that really supports us in this resilience and in this, yeah, moving forward.
Well, it's like you just said, right? Success is not like straight up, right?
No.
Uh, how many roller coasters are out there?
A
I'd like
lot.
to know that, guys.
Yes.
Honestly, I'd like to know because that's what life is,
Yeah.
right? It's a roller coaster. Go up, go down, go up.
Yes.
And why do we ride them? Because it's the excitement, it's the joy. So why
Yes.
are we so scared as human beings to be scared of our own roller coasters?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let's start playing on our roller coasters. Let's start riding. I don't like roller coasters, guys. I've only
No,
been
but
on 2 in
I
my
like
whole
the
entire
journey.
life, and
Yes.
they've been the kiddie ones,
Yes.
and that was big enough for me.
Yeah.
But maybe one day I'll do a big roller coaster. I don't know.
No.
But I, I really look at life as a roller coaster because when you have a mental health day and you're having a hard day, it's sat down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the next day, your mental health is better, so you're up.
Yeah.
Then you're back down. So it's like a roller coaster. So
It is.
instead of going do, let's
Yes.
go, like, let's have some fun. Like,
Yeah.
let's play, you
Yeah.
know? And that's what life is. It's really been a life journey. And like I said, the divine universe brings people together for a reason. It
Mm-hmm.
connects us for a reason. Whether it's a challenge, a lesson, or a blessing, it's a
Mm-hmm.
reason. That person has to come into our life, whether we like it or not.
Yes.
That's just the way life is, right? And we can choose who comes in and out of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we can't choose. We're put into situations where we can't. And I get that. But I always have a can out of that can't. We
Yes.
can change the outcome. We can change how we heal ourselves. We can change on how we present ourselves and how we support one another. Um, Kim, you know this. I'm a huge supporter of everybody else. I'm that cheerleader cheering
Mm-hmm.
everybody on, right?
Yeah.
And it's because I didn't have it as a kid.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a cheerleader. It's not about people pleasing. Years ago, yes, it was. I was that people pleaser. I would do everything for everybody. I would put myself, but now I'm just like, I just like seeing people win.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with celebrating somebody else's wins
No,
and
it's
celebrating someone else's book and saying, "Hey,
yes.
let me buy your book." And, you don't even have to buy my book. I just want to buy your book because I want to know what your story is, right? And I do that with the guests. Like if they have like I'm still trying to get your cards
Yes.
because like but I wanted something different from you, Kim.
Yeah.
Like when I seen that, when I went to your site, you had your books and you had your cards, and I was like, oh, she has cards. This
Mm.
is different. I have a lot of books from everybody else. Let me do different. Let me get cards.
Yeah.
If somebody has a clothing brand, oh, let me buy your, your hoodie or your t-shirt, or, let me support
Yeah.
you that way. I've had many guests on Tea Time that, have movements. So they have t-shirts and hats and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's not because I want to be that people pleaser. It's because I like to celebrate people. I like to, and I
I
think we
think
need
that's
to start
beautiful.
doing that more. Like
Yeah.
we need to, like even podcasts, like what we're doing right now. You were on my podcast, I'm on your podcast,
Yeah.
support one another and say, let me go to a different table. And it's like a tea party, right? Go to different tables and
It
have
is.
some fun. See what
Yes,
you
I
can
love that.
get.
Yeah. And
What
especially,
conversation, like,
yes. Yeah. And having fun and just showing up and sharing our story. And I think that's really beautiful. And the celebration as well, because it's all about we coming together, because then we uplift each other. And that's the same when we have a bad day and we keep showing up. It
yeah.
inspires us because it really uplifts our energy, but it also gets to inspire someone else. So I love, as you shared, like, I think that's such an important, and we're all, I think as well, we're going to divine success. I like that more than, because divine success is about loving yourself and
Yeah.
seeing the blessing in each moment and having the gratitude for what is. Because what I loved in what you shared just now as well, it is empowering to know when people come into our lives, there's always a reason.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like, okay, it overwhelms me or it overcomes me, like when we truly, with wonder, with just compassion and love, look at, okay, what is the deeper meaning? And sometimes it's something joyful, and sometimes it's an inner part that wants to be healed or seen, but then it's empowering instead of putting the power outside of ourselves. No, it's within. So I think that's really, I think for everyone, if you look at life through that, and I think maybe also as we go older, we go more within, and we each moment and of each day, and with all we went through as well, you truly get to honor, like, okay, just being blessed to wake up each morning and to enjoy the sunlight, and when we do that, things start to shift and things. So I think that's really
Well,
amazing
I
to
think
bring.
I think the message is grateful, right? And to be
Yes.
grateful for what you already have. Because
Yeah.
if you're not grateful for what you already have, how can you be grateful for more?
Yeah. It
Because you're
is.
never going to be complete if you just want more, 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 more. I shared a story with my kids. My kids are adults now, and they're very materialistic.
Mm.
And I'm just like, okay, but if all that material stuff was to be taken away tomorrow from you, at the end of the day, what is left?
Yeah.
Well, me. Okay, so let's start celebrating me. Let's start enjoying me. you
Yeah.
know I'm not saying that you can't have that fancy car, or you can't have that beautiful home. That's not what I'm saying, guys. I'm saying let's start celebrating ourselves first. you
Mm-hmm.
know let's start leaving a legacy of ourselves.
Yeah.
We all have a story to leave behind. When we're gone, our story's still here. It's like the past, the present, and the future. We might not be here in the future with our loved ones, but our future is still being passed on because we have left that legacy of the past and present. you
Yeah.
know be present. Take that 5 minutes for yourself, and don't feel guilty about it. I know I used to, and
Yeah.
now I take 5 minutes, I take 15 minutes, I take 20 minutes.
Yes.
If I take a bubble bath, I'm in there a couple of hours. Sometimes I fall asleep in the tub. I don't recommend that to anybody, but uh, what usually wakes me up when I'm in the tub and I fall asleep, Kim, is I go to pull the blanket up because I'm
Oh.
getting cold. The
Yes.
water's getting cold. And I'm just like, oh,
Oops.
shoot, I'm in. Let
Why
me.
is the blanket not working? Yes. I
And I
get it.
never put it's very dangerous to fall asleep in the tub,
Yeah.
so any of the list, I'm not
Don't do
encouraging
that.
that, but
No. Yes.
uh, but these are the little things that I chuckle at myself at. Like, you
Yeah.
silly girl, like you fell asleep in this tub and now you're shivering and you're looking for a blanket. So you have to
Yes.
get
Yeah.
out of the water to
Yeah.
get into the blanket. Like,
But
and
to
I
laugh with
think,
yourself instead of blame, like I like, because yeah.
yeah, like I'm not
Yes.
like, oh, you crazy woman, like what the,
No. Yes.
like,
Yeah.
and I have my crazy paper, so I can call the crazy card at any time because I live with
Yes.
conversion
Yeah.
disorder. So, and when you Google it, it says crazy. So, like, but
Yeah.
I throw these humor in there because I don't want to stay heavy. I don't
Mm.
want to stay stuck.
Yeah.
I want to be on it. So yeah, I'll throw some humor into the heavy stuff. It's not that I'm uh making it less than what it was. It's
No.
just my way of surviving. It's my way of getting over it, overcoming it. It's not for everybody. Like, I'm not telling everybody to start laughing at yourself if it's going to do harm to you. But for me, that's what works for my healing journey, is for me to have those little chuckles and punchlines at myself. Like, like, where did you think the blanket was going to come from in the tub? Like,
Yes.
where did you bring a blanket in the tub? Maybe I might even try that, bring a little blanket.
Yes.
But
again, I think as you shared, like, it's also sometimes not taking life too seriously. It's getting out of the story, because sometimes we're so in the story. So laughing or sometimes making a joke is not denying what has happened or the pain, but it's taking you out of the story so you can look through the lens of love instead of judgment or pain or not knowing what to do. Or so I think, in a way, it creates opening. Like, even when you put on a smile and you don't feel it, already a lot of chemical processes in your body are creating that just give more uplifting energy. So it's understanding that I think it's a beautiful way, and it's not for everyone, but it's understanding that sometimes we need a bit lightness. The world is sometimes so serious, so the lightness brings spirit. So.
Well, I like to tell people, and Kim, I like to tell people, because sometimes my nerves, because I have nerve damage, right?
Yeah.
So I can't smile. So people are like, Miss Liz, why can't you smile? Why aren't you smiling today? Like, aren't you happy? Yes, I'm happy, but my nerves are saying you're not moving. So you know what? So the up down smile, like, you're frowning. I'm just frowning in a different way. Turn my head upside down and I'll be smiling. Like, like, turn me up on my head. Like, tell me to do a headstand. And there's your smile, right? But these are the things, right? People don't know, because it's an inner thing, right? It's my nerves, it's my damage, like, neuropath, right? So people will be fast to judge. Oh, well, she's always sad. She's always miserable. No, it's because I can't do it, guys. And it's not because I don't want to do it. It's my body saying, mm-mm. So how does Miss Liz change it? Well, Miss Liz just kind of throws a joke at herself. Okay, well, today I need to do a headstand. Like, not that I can, guys. I probably fall on my head and then I'd fall over, but
it's the intention. Yes. I love it.
But I mean, it's turning it into a positive, right?
It is.
Today I can't smile. Okay, well, how can I fix that? Let me see if I can get something positive out there. Let me get a positive message out there. Let me see if I can reach out to somebody that can smile for me. Because sometimes we need that friend that can smile. When I'm having a hard day, maybe I can reach out to you, Kim, and say, hey, Kim, can you smile for me, Dick? Because it's not working. Like,
Yes, I love it. Yeah, but it's thinking outside of the box, and really also coming back to, you said, like, in the beginning, you said, like, I'm on this train and this train is going. Maybe when you open your eyes, you see there are more train rides, and you can just take another lane and try something new, instead of saying, like, okay, no, I've always been on this train and this will always be so. But it's a choice. And it's like, I think as well in both of our stories, but in everyone showing up, it's not easy. Like, for all us as well, it's a daily commitment. And it's not per se that it's one switch and everything just is unicorns and happy and bliss. No, it's a daily commitment to ourselves and our mission and what we feel, and showing up for ourselves and others. But like, in that, we open up so much beautiful things. But it's a daily focus, a daily commitment, a daily, so I thank you.
Yeah. And it's like when you were on Tea Time, Kim, right? And we talked about your tea, right? And we talked about the seed of the flower, right? We all have a flower within us. It's called the inner child. We all have a story. It's within us. Everything is within us. So when we start to understand the within ourselves and the self-love of ourselves and the self-reflection of ourselves, we can actually bloom that flower. We can actually grow out of love, the love of ourselves. And that's where I really want to change my life. That doesn't mean that that's what you want to do with your life, but I'm trying to encourage everyone, right? Just to plant the seed. And it might take 5 years, it might take 10 years, it might take 20 years, guys, but plant that seed. Because if you don't plant a seed of legacy, you're just living in the moment. You're just here, right? You're just in existence. Where I want people to plant the seeds and actually have that seed grow. Maybe that seed will only grow once you're gone. We don't know, but unless we plant that seed of love and that seed within ourselves, nothing's going to change. And I'm a huge humanitarian, and I'm a huge person that believes in peace. Do I believe that we'll ever get peace on earth? No, I don't. That's the truth, guys. I don't. Would I love it? Absolutely. I think we all would, but I
Yeah.
don't see it happening and on this time and
Yeah.
in this
No.
in
But it
this
starts
planet.
within. And again, if we plant the seed and if we allow that to grow within ourselves and we are loving and compassionate,
Yep.
that is what we ripple out. So it's also understanding our contribution to the collective and to the greater. I think that's really, really beautiful.
And that's what I really loved about your book, right? Was the
Yeah.
opening of the flower,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Uh,
And it
and the
starts with one step, because sometimes we also think I need to go there. No, but just one step, start. Like that's already a huge thing. A lot of people don't start. Start wherever
yeah,
small
yeah,
or
just do it,
do.
guys. Like
Yes.
if you fall, right? You're on that
Yes.
roller coaster. So you go down and you go
Yeah.
up, then you go
Yeah.
wee, way up, and then you go way down. You
Yes.
know, you have fun, play. As adults, I encourage everybody to play, have some fun, get on the ground, get in the dirt, you know.
Yes.
When you're planting flowers and the plant doesn't go in right or the roots are dead, you know what? Maybe that plant wasn't meant to be planted. Like we got to really start looking at the negative stuff as it wasn't the right time
Yeah.
or the right place.
Yeah.
And that's how life is, right? People that come into our lives and that bring us lessons, you know, relationships that don't flourish. Maybe that person came to us to show us that we needed to grow in a different way. You know, I've been through a lot and I look at everything and I try to understand why people do stuff. And there's just bad people out there, you
Mm.
know. Um, but there's not many of them. You know, I believe everybody can heal themselves and everybody can change if
Yeah.
they choose to, right? And we go back to that word choose. You know, it's a choice. But I think that we all can make a difference. We all can make that impact. And for me, it's T. Like I go right back to the T of past, present, and future. It's that roller coaster, guys. It's a time travel. It's
Yeah.
I don't know where my future is going to go. I don't know how it's going to change. Uh, but it's something's going to. I know that there is something. I just don't know what it is.
No.
But I'm working towards it. So
It's navigating on this inner knowing that's not per se out there yet. But what I like, what I also love in what you shared is still coming back to like not being in the story anymore. Because when we look at the plant that is dying, we're so focused on that instead of zooming out. Because maybe in the back of us there's a beautiful flower that is blooming, that is our destiny or our mission or our purpose or our next level. But if we keep focusing on what has not worked out, we also miss what maybe is our way
yeah,
out
and
to.
it's right next to us, right? And this
Yes.
is
But then
beautiful
we
flower.
keep
We're not
zooming
even
on.
looking to,
Yes.
oh, there you are.
Yes. But then we need to get out of the story, and that's a choice. We need to zoom out and see.
Yeah.
So I want to invite everyone to tune in to all of your website, your tea time, and all the beautiful creations. I will place the link below this video or audio, whatever way everyone is tuning in. And if there was one last thing you would like to share with everyone as an advice or a tip, or what would it be?
Oh, my last advice would be serve your tea.
Yes.
Not the beverage, but serve your tea.
Yeah.
And serve it through storytelling and words. It's really important that we start using words. We
Yeah.
use words for the heavy stuff. Let's use words for the positive stuff. You know, and it's simple. 3 words, T.E.A.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to start with the T.E.A. Miss Liz is learning that too. Sometimes someone's tea is just not the T.E.A. It's a different type of tea. It's
Yeah.
just like making different blends of cups of pots of teas, right? You have your berry tea, you have your herbal tea, you have your green tea, you
Yes.
know. So just serve your tea, serve from within and see what happens. Plant the seed and let's see where this takes us. Like, you know, like this relationship, this connection, you know, where it's taking us, where we'll be in 5 years from now. I can say, hey, Kim, how you doing? Like, you know, and we're in 2 different countries, you know, and we get to travel through virtual land. But maybe in 5 years, we might be able to meet face to face. We
Yes, that
just
would be
never
amazing.
know, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So just serve your tea. That's my final message for everybody. And that's my message and my legacy is tea. And it's not the beverage, it's the tea
Yes,
of
no.
you.
I would say to everyone, check it out. I will share the link, and I want to thank you for sharing your voice and sharing your story and sharing this beautiful conversation. And everyone tuning in, I want to thank you for showing up for you and really connecting in these beautiful ways. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next Soul Love podcast. And for now, much love. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.